Boop, boop. Beep, boop. Y'all, let me first ask you, how the hell was your week?
I mean, I don't want to talk about all that. I'd rather talk about the spicy chicken wars. So what?
They're like internal.
What
it's like a
the
civil
heck?
war in the McDonald's thing. Like, in case you guys didn't know this, if you have hot and spices in your lives, they're a regional thing, which is something that I didn't realize until I think you told me.
That's my favorite drunk food, is hot and spicy. If you don't know what that is, fuck you.
That's your favorite drunk food?
Yeah, it is. That or, because I used to live by a Jack in a Box. Oh my god, I can't.
Jack in the Crack?
You guys, okay. I'm already buzzed. We had a work happy hour. I'm living. Okay, Jack in the Box chicken sandwich. The end. Go on.
No,
Finn.
I'm still the Jack in the Crack situation. I'm still there.
End of episode.
I can't leave there.
It's the end of the episode. Beautiful. No, I don't know if hot and spices are regional, but definitely like the spicy chicken biscuit for breakfast. I still order it for McDonald's breakfast in the hopes that one day they'll bring it to me, but they haven't. It is very much a regional thing. They don't even have them in California, apparently. My sister can't get one.
What the?
Wait, I thought you said the hot and spices were the regional
They
thing. Because you're the one who told me
I'm pretty sure
that.
they use the hot and spicy boy in the spicy biscuit. Oh my god, in the spicy biscuit. They use like the hot and spicy patty into the spicy biscuit. So I'm going to assume we have neither of those here in Philadelphia.
Wait. There's a spicy biscuit, but not a regular biscuit, but it's the hot and spicy
There is
patty.
no spicy biscuit, only regular biscuit, because we don't have no flavor over here.
So spicy patty.
So the spicy patty is what's special here, I
We
guess.
don't have a spicy
Gotcha,
patty
okay.
here, at least for breakfast.
But why
Sad for
not?
you.
Okay,
Sad
but
for
you
you,
still
sorry,
have the
Philly.
biscuit.
The
I didn't
regular
even know there
chicken
was a
biscuit.
spicy biscuit here.
You haven't lived.
See, me and Dolly are
You
flabbergasted.
haven't lived.
No, it's the sausage egg McMuffin with cheese.
I mean, yes.
That's the only thing you can get. Maybe you can get a McGriddle if you're feeling.
Have you ever
like,
tried eating both?
for the novelty? No.
No.
One or the other. The
It's
McGriddle's
one sandwich.
The McGriddle is an
No.
opulent thing. You can have that and that alone.
I've never had more than a bite of a McGriddle. What I mean is try getting a spicy biscuit and your McMuffin.
It's a 2-for-4 deal, so I don't think I'm going to be able to fit that spicy chicken biscuit
That
into my
sounds like
situation.
a rank breakfast, and I love breakfast, so I'm not going to do that, but thank you for the recommendation.
I feel
One of these days.
like I've been
Yeah,
insulted.
Is that new?
No, it's not.
Is that a new feeling?
I guess not. I guess it hasn't.
Maybe one day, if I'm hungry enough.
When you're here for the summer, I will 100% take you to the McDonald's and you will order it for us because I refuse to let those words leave my mouth.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
This is what we call, and this is something I started with my sister, Blunch, which is when you have a mimosa, but you have fast food breakfast. So it's not brunch, it's blunch. It's blah, lunch.
TM,
What
TM,
the
TM.
fuck?
It's TM.
We had lunch.
What
When
is...
did we have it? When you were here last time?
Tell
We
me
had
the
Burger
story.
King. We had Burger King Blunch.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
When you were here for the summer last year.
What makes a brunch is the mimosas, but it's still blah because it's fast food. Blunch. TM, copyright, sit down loser, copyright, Ketzel.
Copyright 2021 forward.
I do be liking Burger King breakfast, though.
I'm not the biggest fan of Burger King's coffee.
Oh, well, yeah, I could agree to that.
McDonald's coffee
McDonald's
is
coffee is
okay.
better.
Wendy's
Wendy's
is the best.
coffee
The
is-
cold
Wendy's
brew.
cold brew
Wendy's
is the
cold
best.
brew
That's a
literally
sleeper.
Wendra.
gets
You
me to vibrate
guys-
on a whole nother level.
You guys, I've never had that before. I didn't even know Wendy's had coffee.
Oh my god.
No.
They do
Yeah.
now. I think
They
it
do
started
now.
last year.
I don't know when they started, but
It
one
was
day
recent.
I went and got breakfast from Wendy's, and I was like, oh, I'll get the what is it? The Frosty Chino, which
Blech.
is supposed to be the cold brew with
Nasty.
the Frosty mix. Pardon me.
Nasty.
But then I just ended up getting the cold brew one time, and that's actually
good.
it's pretty good
It's
cold
good.
brew. 9
It's-
times out of 10. Sometimes you get kind of a weird off.
No. Because there was one day I think I was talking to you and I was drinking it. I was like, this isn't good. And I looked forward to this.
Because it's usually
all
good.
morning,
it's a,
and it
it's a
wasn't
true
good.
disappointment.
But 9 times out of 10, it is.
Solid. Welcome to our fast food breakfast review podcast.
TM.
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 Sit down, loser. We're having Blunch.
Okay,
All right,
okay.
let's go.
All right,
Anyway,
Let's start.
so
Should we get this started?
coming
let's
back
let's
to,
get this started.
Let's get this party started.
Let's get it started.
3, 2, 1.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome to Sit Down, Loser. We're watching a movie. My name's Dahlia.
I'm Sky.
I'm Antonio.
And I'm Ketzel.
And we're just four strong-willed and spirited lower-class men looking for romance who watch movies that everyone else has watched. Except one of us is a loser who hasn't. Today we're watching a movie that really set the standard for romance a little too high for all of us. Pride and Prejudice, released in 2005, directed by Joe Wright. And today's loser is...
It's me. Of course it's me. I haven't seen it.
Dahlia.
All right. Aside from the fact that Dahlia, surprise, surprise, has not seen it, why'd we choose this movie?
First off, beautiful.
Beautiful.
Iconic.
This is one of the movies that I was too busy watching 50 times instead of watching other famous films. This is the movie. And also, I feel like there's been such a resurgence of it in my eyes through TikTok. Mm-hmm. It's beloved. It is everyone's, well, a lot of people's comfort movie. Should be everyone's comfort movie. I cried to it. I laughed to it. I love this movie. And so do a lot of other folks.
I could watch this movie over and over again, and in all the same parts, I'm like, I need to scream because it's just it's so good. I just,
good.
I love what
cry.
I'm hearing. I don't know anything about this movie. I guess, I don't know. Antonio, do you have anything else to say?
About this movie?
Yeah.
This movie, and I actually learned this pretty recently, is a really great movie up until the last parts for me, in particular the end credits scene, the just before that. For me
so
particularly,
excited.
Do you
it
mean
just
the
kind of irks
ending?
me. The very end,
not the end credits scene.
like not end credits,
The
scene,
after credits.
but like
Marvel.
just before the credits,
Where Nick Fury comes in.
Oh my
tries to recruit Mr. Darcy.
Yep.
And
I was
Mrs.
gonna say-
Darcy.
Mr. Darcy will appear in the next Marvel movie.
You guys are so dumb. You guys are tricking my brain because I'm not in the right mindset. You're like Nick
We're
Fury.
so sorry, but I do like this movie right up until those last moments. I
And
do
I
like
fully
this
disagree.
movie.
And
I
I also
understand.
fully disagree.
I also understand your guys' disagreement, but that's just me as a person. But I do like this
That's
movie.
fair,
There
though.
are lots of this movie that I really do enjoy. It's just it irks me at the very end.
And you know what? That's fair.
And if you
considering
knew
who
me
you
as a
are.
person, you might know why.
It also popularized John Austen.
John Adams.
Suddenly, I
the,
can't read.
You
Who
know,
even
we're
is
in like
that?
the Rule 34 where Jane Austen is now John Austen.
Oh, wow, dude. Even I knew that Jane Austen wrote the book, okay?
Okay, anyway, back to what I was saying. It popularized Jane Austen's work and made it an easy viewing experience for the casual moviegoer to enjoy, which is pretty cool because it reaches more people that way, you know?
Well,
Oh yeah, 100%.
at least for the new generation, because people
That too.
a generation before us loved the miniseries with Colin Firth as Mr. Darcy, and I feel like this introduced like us and a younger generation back to Jane Austen's work, and like other ones, like, you know, Emma was really good and all that, but this was it. This was like,
But
Okay, so you're
stunning.
counting us as the younger generation too.
well, yeah, but the was it a miniseries before?
it was a
Yeah.
miniseries.
It was like a BBC
it was a
video.
lot
Less
more.
accessible.
It took a lot more to sit through and get
Yeah,
through
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Oh,
Whereas
yeah,
this
'cause
is
it was
just
on,
a movie.
BBC, like it was
Yes.
probably like a BBC One situation.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can see that happening because I'm like, Colin Firth, oh my God. I know the Mr. Darcy types. That's about as much as I know. I read some of Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, but that's not the same thing.
No,
we don't
it's
talk
not.
about that.
I enjoy that movie for an action movie, not for like a Jane Austen like adaptation or
And
anything. But I've also never read the book, and I just I sat through it, and it's YA novel, and
I've
I eat that
never
shit up.
seen
It's
it
like
either.
like a parody. So I mean, it's. You know.
I was like heavy into zombies in high school, and right now I'm watching The Walking Dead from season 1 again. So like I'm literally living my high school like life right now. It's
Oh.
amazing.
Well,
but-
Pride and Prejudice and Zombies is on something for you to watch at some point.
I'll watch it alone because the way that you guys sound, you seems like you hate it. So
Oh, I've never seen it.
Oh my gosh!
I just
for a reason.
Yeah, I just didn't really care to see it.
Ooh.
Because
Yeah.
I just
Hot
I'd
take.
rather watch
I know.
this.
That's
Yeah, this
definitely
is so
if-
beloved.
I'll jump to the end. Hot cast, yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love Lily James. She's beautiful, and Lena Headey.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Alina's in it.
Yeah.
Ooh, me
I know, right? I'm like, doesn't she have like an eye patch or something?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
An iPad.
She's
Eye patch, you dumbass. Open your ears.
Yeah, she's the most BA out of all of them.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Oh my god, I don't know
Maybe
what
we
you guys
can
are
watch
talking
it
about.
at some point, just for fun.
Yeah, not for this.
I was gonna say shout out to the film Emma, the old one with Gwyneth Paltrow, which was a movie that made Jane Austen, palpable to audiences. But I just feel like Pride and
Palatable?
Prejudice, Palpatine.
Palpable.
Listen, anyway, but Pride and Prejudice just like takes it to a whole nother fucking level. Like this one, it's gorgeous. This is one of my top 5 favorite films of all time. I cannot wait to watch this for the 80th time. This is the film that I would sit down with my mom and my sister to watch, and we'd watch it every fucking time. I love it.
Yeah, I remember I saw this in theaters with my aunt, and I remember going to theaters to see it. I think we saw it at Village Square. And I just remember we walked out and we were like, wow.
Wow, the world is such a beautiful place.
The visuals in this movie are just so incredible. And like the score and the costuming and that, like, it's
I
just,
haven't gotten there yet. Oh my god.
it's just so great. I know.
It is.
Okay, watch
Well-
watch you guys like build this shit up and then I'm gonna be like, wow, that was the biggest waste of time of my life.
You won't think it's the biggest waste of time.
I know, I'm just so
It's an
I'm a
86%
romantic.
on Rotten Tomatoes, and passing the Rotten Tomatoes score up, it's 94% liked by Google viewers.
Yeah, that's the more accurate one we've determined.
Oop.
I think just for like from a non like critical standpoint, yeah. Google like if 94% of people like it, then you're
94
definitely
people.
gonna like it. 94 people out of 100. If you're talking about percentages, that would be correct.
I can't read or know math.
I don't know math.
I don't know anything. But
Wait, Dahlia,
I'm here.
what do you know? What do you know about this film?
Is it? I don't know what era this is because like I'm all fucked up on England. I guess it's Victorian. I'm gonna guess. I'm pretty sure from what I remember, it's a story about sisters and they're all trying to get fucking married off by their parents or whatever. I don't know if it's a single mom, like dad died. I don't know, but they're trying to get married off. There's like several sisters. I don't know how many. And then there's Mr. Darcy, which is like literally like what's his fucking name from 50 Shades? Christian Grey.
No,
He's the Christian Grey of
If we wash out the kinks, maybe.
He's the Christian Grey of Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, what a hot take!
I mean, he's
I
the
know.
quintessential
Hot take.
archetype. He's tall, dark, and handsome.
Look.
Tall, dark, and broody and handsome.
I know I'm wrong. I know I'm absolutely wrong, but I just thought I'd say that because I thought it was funny. But yeah, like Mr. Darcy is like the hottest of the hots, and I know one name, and I think it's Elizabeth. I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know if that's who he gets with. Whatever, and I have no idea how the rest of the movie pans out.
Fabulous.
Do you know anything about who's acting in it?
I just know Keira Knightley. I looked at the actor list earlier because I wanted to take a look and be like, who is here? But then I saw it was like, ooh, Dame Judi Dench. And Keira Knightley, and that's probably the only people I know, except for Rosamund Pike, and I can't remember where the hell I saw her from.
She's very, very popular for Gone Girl, I would think.
I haven't seen that.
Oh,
It's on our list.
that's
It's on
the
the
list
list.
for you. My bad. Well, that's a weird one that you might have actually seen.
she's been in a lot
What's
recently
a
too.
movie that I feel like you might have seen? Did you see the Doom movie?
No.
No.
This is just generally a very star-studded cast. Like, you're gonna be surprised by the people that pop on. Like, there's just a lot of other.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Didn't they remake this movie recently with Emma Watson? Or no, I'm thinking Little Women.
No.
Sorry, that's a
Little
different
Yeah.
book.
Well, but I could understand why you would like
Man,
kind of equate those.
It's very
didn't like
it's very
Little Women.
of that era. Am
You
I
didn't
wrong?
like Little Woman?
No, I watched it. I was like,
Oh,
this was
You didn't
alright.
like-
I didn't get a chance to watch
Is it because you don't like Emma Watson?
No, she was definitely one of the points that I was like, because
She always is.
accent.
She always is. It was.
And I think I said that to you guys. I was like, I'm gonna say it. She's not that great of an actress.
It's not.
In
That's
Harry
not a hot-
Potter. In Harry Potter, yes. Everything else I've seen her in, no.
That's not a hot.
Okay,
take,
I'm
that's
gonna
just a
fight.
take.
I'm gonna fight for the live action Beauty and the Beast because you're wrong. But okay.
Her accent. Okay, whatever.
We're dropping
I also
it.
don't. I also don't.
Au
love
revoir.
Emma
All
Watson.
right, so touching base on the cast, there's Keira Knightley, Matthew McFadden, whose name is spelt that way, and I didn't believe it until I had to Google it myself. Judi Dench, Rosamund Pike, and then also Donald Sutherland.
I only know two
out
of
of
those
like
people.
the billing cast that I can think of.
Donald Sutherland is what's his name in Hunger Games?
Yes,
Yep.
President Snow. I
Nope.
didn't watch that.
Have you
No,
not
wait.
seen the Hunger Game movies?
Oh, I've seen the Hunger Game movies.
Oh, okay.
I just don't remember them.
He's the bad guy.
He's the big bad guy.
I know Presidents. No, I didn't read the book, but I did see the movie. The first two movies, I think. Are there 4 movies? There's 3
They
movies.
split
There's
the
4.
third book into 2 movies.
Just like Twilight. Okay.
Just like Harry Potter.
Harry Potter did it first for kids.
Harry Potter did it first.
I did see the first 2 movies.
I mean,
but
I
not
suppose The
last
Hobbit
ones.
did it the best, taking one book and make it into 3 movies.
I did
And then
like
splitting
the
up the
Hobbit.
last one. What?
I did like The Hobbit.
Oh, I was gonna say. I thought you said you didn't like The Hobbit, and I was about to be like, we got to stop the podcast.
Look, everybody's gonna come for me. Donut, come for me.
No, I love The Hobbit.
Okay, but yeah, I don't know any of these people
Man, you do know Keira Knightley
from
And
the Pirates
actually-
movies that I've never seen.
Oh, Dahlia. My
Wait,
sweet-
you
my sweet
you know who
child.
what have you seen Keira Knightley in?
I don't know.
You just know you've seen her.
I've seen her.
She was, like,
Do you think she's
everywhere.
really pretty?
Yeah.
Okay, so fun fact. I believe it was the director that saw Keira Knightley, and he was like, "She's too pretty for this role in this movie, Pride and Prejudice." And then he met her, and he was like, "Oh, you'll work out perfect."
Is that a
she's
fucking
fabulous.
drag?
Oh, she's fantastic in this movie.
Or she was just so
and
great.
you know, I said I talked shit about this movie, but honestly, I am part of that 94% that does like this movie.
I feel bad because like we were immediately like gushing about this film, and took us a while to ask Talia what she knows about it. We just
Yeah,
love this
sorry,
film so
Dahlia.
much.
It
We're
is
like,
a
Yeah,
beloved
I,
film.
I don't even know what was on the list before, but it literally got hiked up to right now because everyone was like, but also there was so much pressure on my side for people like that I know that were like, have you seen Pride and Prejudice? And I was just like, no. And I'm like, I can't watch it. I'm like, I have to watch it for my podcast. And then I brought it up to you guys and you're like, zoot.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so you got zooted up. You're the one who zooted it up. I thought it was just like a
Zooted?
fast pass.
I'm pretty
No.
sure I told Sky and then she was just like, whoop.
Well, because I had the whole thing written out for "Call Me by Your Name" because I was very excited for like the quips and stuff for that because it just wrote itself, you know. But we were talking and you were like, yeah, all my friends were saying like I should watch Pride and Prejudice, and I was like, all right, so I'll make it the next episode. And then I was writing it up and I was like looking up everything and I was like, I gotta watch it now. So I was like, Dolly, we can
so
switch it if you
excited.
want.
I'm a little excited.
Okay, but you have to know what my friends had told me. Like, they didn't spoil it for me at all, but they were like, okay, like, Pride and Prejudice is better than Titanic, so...
Oh,
100%.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh my god,
God.
Titanic's just sad.
Yes.
They have a whole like song meme in Céline Dion by having Titanic.
Here's the thing, though. Oh, that song is fantastic, and
It is.
honestly,
Yes, it is.
I do like Titanic, but
Can I raise my hand?
Pride and Prejudice is better than Titanic.
Are we
That is
flashing
true.
back?
Yes,
your hot
I'm
take?
raising
You're
my
flashing
hand.
back?
Oh
I'm
no, they
flashing
have the
back.
story.
I'm flashing back with Antonio because Antonio and I were in French together in high school for 3 years. And
Ooh la la.
Ooh, oh. And our French teacher was going to retire, and she said, fuck it all. We're going to use the French club money to go see Céline Dion in Vegas. And so me and Antonio did not know many Céline Dion songs, but we went together, and at some point Céline Dion obviously starts singing My Heart Will Go On, and me and Antonio were in a dark like stadium, and we look at each other.
Yeah.
We both have tears go like streaming down our faces.
Oh yeah, it was the amphitheater at Caesars, and in the event that you guys don't remember this, we're in Las Vegas, so we had the ability to just be like dropped off at the Caesars hotel and go see Celine Dion for fun.
Yeah. And we just turned
But
to
you
each
guys,
other
you
with gay
guys were
tears.
crying.
Oh yeah,
I
we were
can't-
crying.
I
We were only
just-
like 18.
It's
I
a
wanna
powerful
see-
song.
I want to
It's
see
powerful.
Antonio cry. I don't think I've ever seen you cry. Maybe
I
tear up.
wasn't actually crying. I was like tearing up. This is a somber.
Oh,
Yeah.
You didn't see tears on my. You did not see
I was
like
like,
tears on my face or anything.
You were
but I-
gleaming. You were glistening.
the lighting is really good in that fucking amphitheater.
okay. I'm living for this moment between you guys. I wasn't even there. I didn't even know you. I'm living for it.
Oh my gosh, that was a whole night in and of itself for
That was a whole
kids
night.
who were like 17.
We were 17. We ate too much at the buffet, so much I had to lie down on a bench in the parking garage.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, we had to like after the show, we had to like book it through like the strip, like as a street, and like book it to try to get to the other side because that's where we were getting picked up.
Oh my god.
We jaywalked through Las Vegas Boulevard.
You
As
guys.
kids.
As kids, and we almost died.
Just so you know, the strip is bumper to bumper traffic. It's not that dangerous.
Okay, because
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
not.
when it's free, everyone's like, it's a 35-mile-an-hour zone, but everybody's going like 50 miles an hour. They're going to run you over. They're going to kill you. But I'm glad you guys made it out alive because now you're here today to tell me the story, and I love it.
And we're here for this podcast. All right. So, does anyone else want to add anything before we watch this movie?
Do you have any questions for me before I go into this?
Do you have high expectations for this movie?
I do, and they better not let me down.
Okay.
Okay? Because you guys are like, it's 10 out of 10, and I'm like, okay.
It's
If
94%
it's not,
out of 100.
if it's not 9.4 out of 10, I'm going to be pissed.
What do you guys think that Dahlia is going to give it?
I don't know. I'll be honestly pretty shocked if you don't like it.
I will
Oh,
be
she's a
shocked too.
sap. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that's why
I would
you know
be
what? I'm
really
going to
shocked.
clock it when she starts to cry.
Do I need to have tissues?
Oh,
I'm a
yes.
crier.
Oh,
I'm gonna
And
yes.
cry.
also I'm buzzed.
I might want the tissues.
I'm gonna scream.
Okay, I'm gonna get
We're
a
gonna
gra-
scream
I'm
and
gonna
cry.
Scream.
I'm gonna grab a box of
All right.
tissues for this.
We're just going to wrap up this part and we're going to go into this.
I'm so excited. Yeah, let's
Let's go.
Let's go. All right, guys. We'll see you on the other side.
bye.
Bye.
Man.
Is that how we're gonna start it? We're
think
just so like
so.
emotionally exhausted.
Man. I'm still part of that 94%.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. In like the last 20 minutes of the movie, yeah, me too. I wasn't convinced. I still wasn't convinced. But then I was like, damn. And I
Man.
cried.
All right.
You
to get
got
it started.
I got.
You got me, gal.
What did happen during the movie, Dahlia? Go
What
ahead
had
and
happened
summarize.
for people?
Oh, you want me to summarize?
We want you to summarize.
Okay. I wrote some stuff down. Okay. 5 hot sisters. They're not that hot. Wonder
5 homely sisters.
5 homely sisters trying to get married. The oldest one's an idiot. The second one is like, I'm different. And then there's like some middle child who's like, I'm gonna run off with a man. The whole family's almost in disgrace. Everything turns out good at the end. Yay! We're horny
There
for
we go.
Darcy.
That pretty much summarizes it. I'm glad you liked it. I do think that perhaps this is how white men feel about Pulp Fiction is to how me and Sky feel about this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is our white man Pulp Fiction. Because I'm like, I will hear no criticism. I will hear nothing ill.
All right.
So what happened?
So the score opens up, and we find Elizabeth, who's walking through, and it's very a la, like, Belle sort of situation. She's just walking around. She's reading.
That's a really good way
I like that
of
parallel.
putting it.
It's
Yeah.
honestly, when I was watching the movie again, I was thinking this is like a very more like tame version of like Beauty and the Beast, like, enemies to lovers, like Sky loves to say she loves. This is
That's
what that
why
movie
I love
is.
this movie so much, I think.
It's
and
very-
it really started that.
Is
for
that
me.
what makes you horny because that's your type? You're like, I hate
Yeah,
you.
and
then
that's
you're
what
like,
I wrote too. I was
love
like
you.
tall, dark, angry at
Broody.
everything. Yeah, that's my type.
so Snape
be
is
like-
your type?
yeah.
Snape is your type.
No, not Snape.
No.
No, that's different.
I
Not me.
really am just getting such Snape vibes whenever we meet Darcy. But
Right?
They have very similar voices.
They do have some the fact that it's English is, that just really just kind of like pegs it right in the hole.
The fact that it's in English.
They are
it's the English for me.
like as in actual like British English.
But yeah, you do make a good
Actually,
point.
I think Matthew McFadden's Fadian is Scottish.
Oop, I don't know.
Might be, but he's definitely
I
from
don't
the UK.
know.
But
I've seen him in other things, and he's only played English as far as I saw.
Yeah.
So you're probably right. My man probably has the range.
I think I can say, like, just even at the beginning, as Antonio brought that memory back into my brain, that the cinematography, whatever the direction, was amazingly beautiful. I love the seamlessness of it. You know, they're just like walking around with the camera and everybody's just like on cue.
It's so good.
Yeah, and
It's
at the
so good.
ball, that was when it was really good.
That's one of the things about like the opening sequence is this movie's so good with the camera work. Like you get to see all the personalities with just them just walking around.
And
You get a good sense of showing, not telling you.
It's
Bravo.
it's just such a beautiful movie. Like
It is.
just
It's about
all
the
around.
cinnamon toast,
The cinnamon toast crunch of it all is just so good.
the cinnamon topography.
And then, so there's that. And then they talk about the ball, which is more of a public ball compared to the other ones.
Yes.
It's where we meet all of the sisters. Jane being the oldest and the most, like, out there. She's no longer a debutante. She's the one who's supposed to be married first at this point.
And
if
we've
we're
all
talking-
seen Bridgerton at this point.
Right.
So
The
you have
I
social-
haven't.
you
the
have to
social
get
structures-
married.
Wow.
Yes, you have to get married before
Cats
I
haven't
can get
seen
married.
Bridgerton.
I haven't seen Bridgerton.
You're missing out. There's a lot of
Yeah.
sex.
So I've
we
heard.
love a fake dating aid.
We talk about Bridgerton. Actually, I think you probably were the one who pegged it, where it was Pride and Prejudice meets Gossip Girl.
Oh, yes.
Someone told me that. And now I understand. It makes
It is
sense.
very
It
much
tracks.
I think you would like it, dude. You should check it out.
It's not been the like I didn't look at that and be like, ugh. Like I saw that and I was like, oh, I gotta watch it, but then I never got around to it. But I know I like it, and it's also, is it not like softcore porn?
Oh, it totally
it's
is.
very softcore porn. It's actually a little bit more softcore porn than some softcore porn.
I recommended it to my mom.
Ketzel, no.
Without watching it yourself, how can you recommend something you've never done yourself?
Because this is
Well, she likes that like time period.
the period.
The period
pieces.
pieces.
So that I get
Period.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, Mommy, you gotta watch Bridgerton. And
Everyone's
then she
talking
watched
about it.
Bridgerton.
And then she didn't talk to you about it?
She watched it and she's like, hay muchos encuerados. There's a lot of naked people.
Thank you for the
And I was
translation
like-
to us.
Look, have you ever seen a novela though? Because like they're always just fucking.
They're always like,
Oh yeah, I've definitely seen the memes. The woman who gets ran over by a car, but she's not even really run over. She just like hits the like
Boom,
side.
boom.
Extra drama. There's always a bunch of sex and like scandals. So like,
I'm sorry, Mommy, for recommending softcore
sorry,
porn to you.
mommy.
Well, at this
Sorry, Mommy.
public ball that we were getting to, that's our first look at Mr. Darcy. So we see Mr. Darcy, tall, dark, broody, and handsome, also rich. At this party, our strawberry blonde golden retriever, Mr. Bingley, becomes enamored with Jane.
So
and
hard.
Foot and mouth. That poor boy.
Which is Rosamund Pike for everyone.
Yes, Rosamund Pike plays Jane, a lovely, lovely, lovely person, a much different character than in other movies. Pregnant pause. But
I was just thinking about Gone Girl.
yeah, you say
I
Rosamund Pike
love
and you just
Gone
think
Girl.
about that movie,
I
and
don't
I
know
am
what
so
that's
ready
like.
for you to see that. I'm ready for you to see
Yeah.
that. After seeing her like this, you'll see her in that, and you'll see why she has like some range going.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have no idea what you're
But
talking about.
so Mr. Bingley and his foot and mouth disease sort of situation. He's
Terminal.
enamored with Jane, and they're like the subplot for this entire movie. They are not the obvious main characters, but they definitely have a very like big part of what's going on in the background.
It's all about Elizabeth and Darcy. Always.
Which you didn't. It was funny to me to see you hate Darcy so much because I was like, good, excellent.
Look.
That's the point.
Look.
That's the point.
I wasn't a fan of him until like right at the end.
Yep.
I was so angry.
Neither was Lizzie.
Then, go ahead. You were opening your mouth. You, yes, you.
I was breathing.
Oh my god, a mistake. You made a mistake. You were breathing. So after the ball, they go to town where they've learned that some soldiers, officers to be specific, because that was very specific, is the officers have come to town, and that's where
Ossifers.
they meet our lovely Mr. Wickham, who's a lovely, charming Orlando Bloom-esque character.
A Walmart version of Orlando Bloom.
Yes.
A great
yes,
value.
I still don't
Oh
know his name.
yikes.
Great, great value.
A Kirkland version.
Up and up brand.
Oh my god. Okay, generic brands. Yeah, we meet him. He's like really, really nice, and he hits it off with Elizabeth. They like go off into like underneath a tree with the sisters. Like they're just walking on promenade, and then they like pass by across the river. Bingley and Darcy, who are on horses, and then you can tell that Darcy is not having it. He's like, "This son bitch," and then she's like, "What's his deal?"
That's my favorite quote.
Which do you think he was madder about? Wickham existing or Wickham Elizabeth with another man? Having seen
you know what? Can we return to that question? Because I really want to just further say that is my favorite direct quote from that movie.
Yeah, me too.
You're welcome.
Thanks for remembering that. I think probably just seeing him in general, because like it's his sister that
You're
he like
right.
fucked with, you know, and like she was only 15. That's young.
Dude, you fuck with my sister, like,
Yeah.
it's ogre.
Yeah, that's.
It's
I
over.
think so. I would.
All right,
I would
Shrek.
say that.
At the time, I thought that it was just seeing him with her, but knowing the backstory, yeah. I
Yeah,
didn't
because
think of it that way.
by then Darcy has already disrespected Lizzie like 5 times, like at the ball.
I know.
Oh my gosh,
he
I
told her
forgot to
like
touch
she's
base on
not
that.
she's not as handsome. I wouldn't be tempted by
she
her.
wouldn't tempt me.
And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like
He
you
was
dumb
literally
bitch.
like,
First off, have
my
you
dick
seen
ain't
Keira
hard.
Knightley? Dude, her lips are
Man.
so like
Beautiful.
perfectly pouted. Like, oh wow, wow.
Keys.
Me gay.
Me. Like I found myself staring at her lips and her eyebrows because they were like so perfectly shaped. I was like, man,
Gosh, she's beautiful. She's got such a small face.
yeah, but she's
You just want to
gorgeous.
cup it.
She's so sprightly.
Gay.
All right,
Gay
anyway, but that's why
silence.
he's wrong. That's why I was like, girl, you ain't fooling no one.
Really?
Yeah, so we're like kind of convinced that maybe she likes Wickham, but then, Darcy keeps coming into play.
Yeah. You liked Wickham too, Dahlia, when he came up.
I
When
did.
they were like flirting. You were like, ooh.
Yeah, I'm like, good. Forget about that bitch. He called you like not handsome. I'm like, get out of here, Darcy. I wasn't a big fan of him because he was always like, and then he would like turn around, and then he would be like, I don't want to be here anymore. And I don't appreciate that. I'm just like, just say how you feel. Like I'm a communicator. I'm like, say how you fucking feel. And he just would just walk away. I don't like
we
that.
just learned Dahlia was Team Jacob and not Team Edward in this little love triangle.
Jacob could go fuck right off. He inserted himself into Bella's life. Okay?
Were you Team Edward from the beginning? Did you read the books, Dahlia?
Of course I did.
And you were you solidly Team Edward? Tim Edward?
Tim Burton?
Tim Edwards?
Tim Edward.
I was not anybody's team because I hated Bella so hard. I don't think anybody deserved to be with her because she didn't deserve anybody.
That's fair.
Dude, I'm Team Charlie.
Oh
the
God,
way.
yes. I love the mustache.
Anyway, back. I don't even know where we're at now.
We were talking about Wickham.
So yeah, so
Wickham.
Wickham.
And
Now comes
the
the
secondary
private
ball.
ball.
The second
yes.
ball. It was a private ball. This ball is where the Collins, Mr. Collins, who's a cousin who has come to visit, as well as Mr. Darcy and Jane, the whole Bennett clan, Elizabeth, Mr. Bingley, and oh my lord, what's her name? What's her name? Caroline. Caroline. We're all at this ball. Everyone gets exceedingly messy.
Plastered.
We're all drunk.
Miss Bennett is a wild thing.
Miss Bennett.
She is.
be
Let's talk about
wildin'.
Mrs. Bennett.
I
What
love
is-
Miss Bennett.
We love Mrs. Bennett. What's your opinion on Mrs. Bennett, Dahlia? Before
Problematic. I love her spirit. I love how involved she is, but then I'm just like, get away from me. But also, I don't know. I don't know what having parents is like. I'm not an orphan. I just didn't have very involved parents, not to drag them, but I'm like,
I mean,
wow.
to be so conniving that you hope that your daughter gets sick so she has better chances at getting a man.
At getting married, yeah. Like
I suppose in the Peri-odd, it would have been very shrewd and cunning to do that. But at the same time,
But of
today's
course.
standards, no.
Yeah,
I would've
Oh
let
yeah,
it slide.
today's standards, no.
in the now times,
yeah.
for sure. But I
But
oh,
and
You
Sky's
have
gonna
more?
back me up here. I feel like I used to be so annoyed by Mrs. Bennet when I would watch as younger, and as I've gotten older, and especially on this watch, I've appreciated Mrs. Bennet a lot more. Because here's the thing, because this is a period movie, it's like, if she doesn't marry off her daughters, that family's in ruins. They will not have money to eat and continue on, especially as they get older. And that's what she keeps talking about, Mr. Bennet dying off. You know what I mean? It's like, if they don't marry off, then they're going to be an absolute ruin. So, like, it's sneaky and conniving, but, like, at some point she tells Lizzie, like, you be the mother of 5 daughters, and then you'll understand me. So it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's complicated, and I appreciate what she's trying to do more.
Yeah.
It's problematic, because you're marrying off your daughters like their property, but, like...
But
it
was
was a
time.
different. It was a different time.
It's a different time.
So,
it's a different time.
Yeah, ultimately, it's just she's doing all of this because she cares. You know, she wants a good life for her daughters. That's why she's so crazy about it.
Anyway, they have this very like crazy, intimate, sparky dance because at the first ball, the public ball, she was like, he didn't even ask me to dance or whatever. He didn't even dance at all. Was the thing, and it's like, what the fuck is his deal? And then this time around they meet again, and then he's like, can I have this dance? And it's like, what? And so they dance, and it was crazy. They were sparks flying. I wasn't feeling it at the time just yet, so yeah, I think they were fighting, and I forget about what now. Can you elaborate?
Well, because she that was after
the first ball they had.
What?
Oh, were
this
they talking?
This is the second ball.
This is the second one. When they're dancing, they're like...
There's so many balls, guys. There's so much dancing.
It gets so confusing. I'm pretty
There's
sure
only
that
two.
the pink
There's
comment
only
actually
two.
was the second ball.
Two.
But the ball sequences are long. Like, they're at the second ball for, like, a good chunk of the movie because a lot's happening.
Right.
So, like, they're arguing about... She's accusing him of destroying Wickham, and he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I didn't do shit to him.
Yeah.
And they argue about that. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, they did argue about that. I don't know if he actually did something to make Wickham disappear for the ball, or if that was actually just Wickham not being at the ball.
Yeah.
Hey Sky, what's your opinion about the dancing when they're alone in the room?
I love that part.
That's right.
That's one of my favorite
That's right.
ones.
I was making fun of the fact that Midnight Sun is about when Mr. Darcy and all his feelings about Elizabeth. That's when we actually realize everything about it afterwards, but that's not how I was outside of that. And you guys were just glittery-eyed about them dancing alone in the room.
I know, me and Antonio were like cackling.
I have a couple of favorite parts, but that's definitely up there. I think actually my favorite part's towards the end.
You have to tell me what happened because obviously I wasn't listening. Me and Antonio were cackling.
There's nothing to tell.
They were just dancing.
They were dancing.
Were they actually was it like shot as if they were by themselves, or they just didn't keep people in the background when they were dancing?
What do you mean?
Like,
visually.
Did the Cinnamon Toast Crunch say that they were alone in the room?
Was it scattered about?
Or was it because when I glanced the one time, because honestly I didn't pay that much attention either.
I think it was supposed to like emit the feeling of like them
intimacy,
like they are in a crowd of people, but it's just the two of them.
But the actual scene, were there actual people, or did they actually kind of like keep other people out?
There was
of the
no
shot?
people.
There was no people.
That's
how they filmed it.
Laughing.
Just the two of them dancing.
I was definitely.
But they were still in the room of people.
I was cackling during that part.
My dick was so out for. My dick's always
Me
out
too,
for that scene.
because it's so.
I didn't. I just couldn't get it then. I did not get it then.
That's because you guys just don't think.
You just don't.
I have a brain. I have a brain and I have emotions. Okay, but he didn't do it for me then.
Ruled by logic.
So yeah, they left early in the morning back to the house. Collins was still with them. He's still staying with them, and then he's like, "I'd like some alone time with Elizabeth." And then everyone's like, "Should we leave?" And then the mom's like, "Everybody get out." And then she's like, "Dad, please." And then Elizabeth is like, "Dad, please." And then she's like, "Jane, please." And everybody they leave her alone. I'm just like, y'all fucked up. And then he asks her to marry him, and she says no. And she runs away. She runs away because who wants to marry him? He's such a little weasel.
He is. He's not a terrible person. And for some reason in my head, because it's been so long since I've seen this movie, I thought he was like a real villain for some reason.
Yeah. I think when I was younger, I thought that.
Maybe
thought
just
that
because he
too.
was
like,
so
why I
like
oughta.
in opposition to Darcy, right? You're like, don't get in the way, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
I
like
get
it
that.
being an obstacle just makes you the enemy, like a villain.
Mm-hmm.
But when she runs away, this is when the parents come in, and Mr. Bennet tells him, if you do not marry that man, your mother will never speak to you. If you do marry him, I will never speak to you, because he does care about his daughter's happiness.
Daddy.
Mr. Bennet.
I love Mr. Bennet.
Great line, Antonio. And then we see that Jane goes to London afterwards. And then we see that the best friend comes to Elizabeth and she's like, hey, I'm marrying Mr. Collins. And she's like, what the fuck? And she's like, we can't all be like you. We can't all marry for love. Like, I'm happy to have what I have. So she goes with her to go visit her after they get married. And then they go to, I guess...
I do want to go back to her quote, which me and Skye were like also freaking out of. Well, no, okay,
Whose
I want to
quote?
go back to that whole moment.
talking about?
Charlotte, because we skipped over her saying, I am 27 years old. I cannot marry for romance. And then me, Antonio, Skye, who Antonio and Skye are
Dahlia.
27.
And Dahlia.
And Dahlia were like, oh God, that hit so deep. And then Dahlia's like, oh wait, I'm married.
I
You
had a
literally
moment.
had the hands up too. You were
The
like,
other thing that we didn't touch base on is the whole reason why Jane goes to London is because she gets a letter that the Bingleys are leaving Hertfordshire.
Yep.
And so the whole reason she's like, this was a summer fling. The fling is over. I got to get out of here. You know, I'm going to go to London, see if he maybe wants to see me. Then I'll know for sure. But after that is when Charlotte does the whole thing, and we all freak out about our prospects at the age of 27.
Just kidding. I'm fine.
Rip to you guys, but I'm different.
I'm just built different. Anyway, because Elizabeth is visiting Mr. Collins and Charlotte, and then they're like, oh my God, it's Lady Catherine. We have to go visit her. And who else? Like who? I mean, we already kind of found this out that Darcy is a nephew of Catherine. So of course he just randomly shows up and we're just like, oh my God, Mr. Darcy, you're here. What the fuck? And then they are all like partying for the evening. And then Lady Catherine is so like antiquated. She's like, you must play. And then Elizabeth's like, oh God, no, that's not what I'm good at. And she's like, just do it. And then she's like, okay. So she plays this terrible song. She plays her terrible song on the piano. And he's like, nice.
Mr. Darcy was like, heh, nice.
We did. So during the entirety of the discourse of the evening, before she performs her terrible version of the theme, she gets grilled by Lady Catherine and her upbringing. She was also very concerned about Elizabeth's education and the lack of a governess for 5 sisters.
Who can afford one?
Which, when I think the word governess, I think of Jane Eyre, which is also another period.
I don't know that.
Because she's, oh my God, so good. She's a governess. And it's a good one.
that's a good
That's all
one.
I'll say.
God damn you guys. Okay.
Me and Skye love period dramas. We really do.
We do. We
Period.
watched a lot together.
Yeah, we always did. Like, you know, like all those scenes where it's like Jane and Elizabeth giggly, and it's like, that's like, I was like, I guess it's kind of me and my sister, but I'm like, that mostly reminds me of me and Skye in high school. Like, giggling about like, oh, does he like you? Hee hee.
Less classy, though.
Yeah,
And I don't know.
definitely
Less
not
classy.
as proper.
I think
but
hoodies
yeah.
and, I don't know, hoodies, and I can't think of anything else
Go
that
ahead.
we would have been wearing in high school. What would you have worn in high
Chains.
school? You were not wearing chains in high school. That was not our clique.
Also, I wasn't a part of
Hoodies
this
and
high
jeans
school
were not a
time.
thing that were part of the period pieces.
We were all in high school at the same time. However, I did not go to school with any of these people. I was all the way.
I've never heard of these people in my life.
I still don't know who any of you are.
Who are you?
I don't know who I am.
Oh gosh.
But,
where were we? We were saying Lady Catherine, bugging. But like, yeah, after that we're just like, wow, what's your fucking deal? You got a stick up your butt, whatever. But she's high society, so she's like very bourgeois or whatever that word is.
She's a lady.
And
She's no lady.
the next day, the very
She's a
next
cat.
day, I feel like he's so enamored by her, like after that visit of the terrible piano playing, he goes to Charlotte and Collins's house where Elizabeth is staying. He just bursts into the room. The scene is so like bizarre to me. He bursts into the room. He's like, "Hey," and then he looks like so nervous, so exasperated.
He breathes heavily and leaves.
And she's like, "Oh, hey, what are you doing here? You know, my friend and her husband are not even here, so you want to come back later?" And he's like just standing there, not saying anything. Yeah. And then suddenly he hears some rustling because I guess they did come home, and then he like leaves. Like, and all you see is his coattails, like, as he leaves out the door.
As he Naruto runs out of there.
And I'm just like, what the fuck was that? I just don't get it. Like, he really just cannot speak his feelings.
It's the equivalence of Edward covering his nose.
Oh my god, get out of here.
Of what?
Of
You know
Edward
when, like,
covering his nose.
You know?
Oh my fucking god.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
You're right, though.
You're right.
You're right.
You think any of these movies or any of those movies or books are like original? No, they all come from somewhere else.
From
Okay,
Pride and
but
Prejudice.
and
Romance was
Prejudice-
created in Pride and Prejudice.
Pride and Prejudice
romance.
is a riff off of Beauty and the Beast.
I'm pretty sure all romance is created with Pride and Prejudice.
There was no romance before then.
No one loved each other.
I don't even read books.
Love didn't exist until Pride and Prejudice.
Love did not exist.
Oh god. Okay. Anyway, the next day after that or whatever, we're like, what the fuck? What's the deal with that with Darcy? And then they go to church. They're not really talking. And then she's sitting next to Darcy's friend, which he reveals that he just saved his friend's like life basically from marrying some like girl. And then she's like, "What friend?" And he's like, "A Bingley." And it's like, you know, like that's my sister, but she didn't say that. And turns out it was Darcy that kind of separated them because he thought that Jane wasn't interested in Bingley and like thought, you know, she was leading him on or whatever, like being indifferent. But the thing is, she's so terribly shy, like of course they wouldn't know. And he's like, you know, what's the word, meddling in his friend's affairs to just protect him, I guess, which is nice. But yeah, it's Elizabeth who's like, what the heck, like I hate you. So she runs away in the rain. And she's like thinking, this guy's the fucking worst. Not only did he like take away my sister's happiness, but like, what else did he do? There was a second thing.
Took away Wickham.
Wickham, yeah.
And like screwed over Wickham. Or she was under the impression he had screwed over Wickham.
Exactly. Because he didn't explain himself because he's a terrible communicator. It's like literally my biggest turnoff. Anyway, yeah, so they're in the pouring rain. She had to get out. She was like done with church. She goes in the pouring rain to this like weird place under some shade or whatever. And then he like comes by and he's like, "Hey," and she's like, "Hey."
He's like, "Hey there."
No, it was like, "Hey," because he's always so broody. And then she's like, "What's your fucking deal?" And he's like, "What are you talking about? What have you heard about me?" And then she's like, "Did you take away my sister's happiness?" He's like, "No, like I'm not denying that I didn't. I totally did that. I think that you're wrong."
You're glazing over the part that before he gets to the whole accusatory and they fight scene. He asks her to marry him.
Idiot.
That's the first thing. He's like,
I'm still not a
talking to
fan.
her, and like,
He's like, "I love you."
I love you.
Neither is Lizzie. Lizzie's also not a fan. She's like,
She is also not a
How
fan.
dare you.
And then she's like, here's why I'm not a fan. And then she talks about, you ruined my sister's happiness and you slighted Wickham.
Exactly.
"You a bitch."
Sorry,
And-
I glazed over that. I'm just like, it doesn't even fucking matter to me. I'm just like, you're a bitch.
Because she's still mad at him.
You're a bitch.
Not a
anyway.
fan.
He admits his love to her, yeah. But like, then they have this like really chaotic, like, what is this? Like in your face, like face to face, like very close, like kind of yelling at each other. And I really thought they were gonna kiss for a moment. I was just like, what are you doing?
They came close.
Like a lot of passion in that one like moment. And you're like, are they going to kiss here? No.
Nope, they didn't. So they were all angry. We're all hot and heavy. And then it's like, oh my God, like, can you believe that he just like fucking walked away and is like not even gonna explain himself? And then he fucking does, but in a letter, because I guess he's a gentleman. That's the only way that he can express his feelings. So he does lay it down, and she discovers the truth. He told her the truth. Do we believe it?
Do we
The
believe
truth?
it? The
Yeah.
truth? Yeah, 100%.
It's the truth.
I don't know. People could have just said whatever they wanted. He's like, this is the like the unobjectifiable truth. Like, this is what it is. But it could be a lie. But
Well, I mean, considering that Wickham later runs off with Lydia, I believe that Wickham is a trifling bitch. So
Oh, of course.
I'm like, on brand.
At the time, though, I still wasn't trusting Darcy.
No, that makes sense.
That does make sense. Like, it's just like every single one of his words still comes with like a grain of salt, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Do I believe him? Do I not believe him? So that was kind of rough. And I'm like, I know she's conflicted. I feel so sad for her. And then she's like, I just got to get out. Even though she was like, just oot and a boot, she leaves with her aunt and uncle to go travel the countryside or whatever. Were they going to Brighton?
Brighton. Yeah. The peaks.
So they were like...
Which is also a gorgeous scene.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
She's standing off the cliff. Ugh.
Beautiful. Don't we all just want to stand on the edge of a cliff?
That and when they're
just
under
a good,
the
like,
tree.
3 feet. Oh, the tree when it's...
And her aunt and uncle are like on the tree, like just reading. I'm like, I would kill to be there just reading a book, just chilling.
I mean,
so
I think they were
beautiful.
stuck there because the carriage broke down.
But it's a beautiful scene. The
It
way
is a
it's
great
set
scene.
up and how they're just lounging on it.
It looks like
gorgeous.
a painting.
Yeah.
And that's with Emma too, like the one that the version just came out. Like when they're just like lying sitting there, it looks like a fucking painting.
Yeah,
it's so pretty.
beautiful.
I do like that, now that I'm thinking about the imagery.
Yeah.
But guess where they are on their travels? They're near Pemberley, which is where Mr. Darcy lives.
Welcome to my crib. Welcome to Miami.
So they go to Darcy's house. He's supposedly not there. So she's like, it's fine. If he's not there, it's fine. She asks if the sister is there because obviously we've heard about the sister before. The one that was like, what's the word? Like betrayed, I guess, by Wickham. And she goes into this room. She hears a piano playing because she remembers that she's an excellent piano player. So she peeks into the room and she's like, what a lovely sound. And then out of nowhere, we see an arm pop out and it's like a dark, broody arm. So we know whose it is.
I like how the arm is broody too. But fun fact, that was also where the theme was playing. So the sister is playing the exact same song. Mm-hmm. It was just much better.
Oh my God.
Also, like, I remember watching this scene early on. And it's like, that's the first time you see Darcy smile. My heart goes pitter, patter, pitter, patter.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
He has joy in his life.
Yeah, when he hugs her and they're like...
Oh, I
And
believe
they're
it. I
laughing.
just didn't notice it until he like was introducing her at a later time.
Oh, yeah.
After seeing Broody arm and the child is swept up into his arms because it's his little sister.
Oh my God, you're
blah, blah,
here.
blah, blah, blah. He like glances her and she's like, shit! And starts running.
At that moment, as soon
Which
as he
anyone
looked up,
would do. That's a normal
It's just
reaction.
the smartest thing to
be
do.
like,
One,
"Oh,
you
get
weren't
out,
supposed
get
to
out,
be
get
in
out,
that
get
room.
out.
2, you
Yeah.
weren't supposed to see them. And 3, you were definitely not supposed to see him.
Yeah, you're like
Smiling.
intruding on a private moment, so you're like, not me, and then you fucking Naruto run out of there.
Okay,
Not me, sis.
she didn't know that he was gonna be there. He wasn't supposed to be there. He was supposed to be
Also,
like, in
she runs
London.
very gracefully. Or flees very gracefully. Because I don't think it was like a
Flees.
full-out sprint.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So
If any of us tried that.
okay, but were you like horny when they met up outside? And then she's like, "Oh hey," and then he's like, "Oh hey, what are you doing here?" She's
Hi.
like, "Oh nothing."
They were both like, hi.
I feel
They're
like
so nervous.
he was so like surprised to see her in his home, and he was like, "I can't believe this." And then he's like, "Can I walk you into town or whatever?" And she's like, "No." And I thought that was really funny. She's like,
I like
"Here's-"
walking. I'm good.
Yeah, well, she also tells him where she's staying, so I thought that was really funny. And she's like, "Don't walk me to town. Here's where I'm staying. Bye." He's already there. He already talked to the aunt and uncle who were already at the inn or whatever at the restaurant. And then they're like, "Oh my God, he was so nice. Like it's so crazy. He invited us to eat dinner with him and meet his sister." And then she's like, "Oh fuck, now I gotta go." So they meet the sister, and that was really cute. And we could see Darcy smiling. Like for me, at least, the first time I noticed it, I was like, "Oh, genuine happiness." And it was really lovely. And I think it was great up until dun 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 she gets a letter. And then she's crying hysterically. It was so like upsetting actually. It really was like, what the heck? Like I almost didn't know what was happening. And then turns out one of her little sisters, Lydia, runs away with Wickham, which is absolutely scandalous. We hate that. Like you're disgracing our fucking family. And so they have to immediately stop this, vacation in Brighton and like seeing Darcy and stuff. They're like, everybody's like, I gotta go. So they go back to their regular house. And then the uncle goes to, I guess, London. I guess that's where they were, wherever they are.
Yeah, he goes to London to help the dad look for Lydia.
Yeah. it was kind of wild. And they do find Lydia, and it turns out she is with Wickham, and it's kind of like, And I feel like she's so like 15. It's so 15 of her to be like, oh my God, I'm married. It's amazing. And
that's
look
the
at my
important.
ring.
That's the important part is that when they find her, Wickham has agreed to marry her.
yes,
For cheap money.
for cheap money, and that's suspicious because
For a 4 for 4.
Basically,
Somebody else
he
needs
has
to
to pay
explain
them
it.
4 for 4 for a year. He has to buy a 4 for 4 for them every year, you know. And they're like, "What? That's it? To not disgrace the family? A 4
Wendy's
for 4?"
4 for 4?
And the reality is, everyone's like, "Oh, the uncle paid him off.
right
The very rich uncle that just took Elizabeth
on a trip.
On a trip, he's like, he paid them off, and so now all we have to do is just buy them a Wendy's 4 for 4."
Yep.
And then, so that gets fixed. Lydia comes to town with Wickham. Everything's all cordial at best. Obviously, everyone looks at Wickham like he's a piece of shit.
Oh, he is a piece of shit.
Because he is.
But Lydia's all happy and married.
So
you know.
happy,
A
so
child.
married.
So 15.
And then she like, teehee, I can't believe I let that slip out. But oh my God, Darcy was there at our wedding. He discovered us, which I feel like is kind of the equivalent of like he was there to watch us get married, like the best man. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, he was the witness, probably.
Yeah.
There you go. I got married. I don't even fucking remember that shit. I
It's
know.
okay.
I know who.
You
I know.
forgot you were married when we were all freaking
Yes.
out.
So, like, yeah, the family's not disgraced. They're just going to pay him a small stipend every year to, you know, be fine. And then, Lydia and Wickham just go away. Whatever. Fantastic. And then we find out, you know, through that whole conversation that Darcy was there. Like, why would he be there, right? It's because he has Munty, and he paid off Wickham to not disgrace her family. So that was, like, a crazy revelation that nobody else except Elizabeth really knew. So I thought that was really cool. Because who cares that much to make sure that your family name is not ruined?
Was that enough to make you like him, though? Because I feel like you remained unconvinced by him till, like, the very end.
I was still not convinced.
No, it wasn't until the very end that she broke down, and then there were tears almost immediately.
Yeah, because I'm like, what's your deal, man?
What's your damage?
Like,
What's wrong with you? Why are you like this?
I couldn't get it. I'm like, is there some ulterior motive still? But there was not. He did care.
And cut to
Bingley and Darcy come to the Bennets. Everyone's like, oh my god, everybody clean up right now. And they were like tossing everything into like the corners. And then as we panned back to the scene of them, they were just like all totally like crazy and chaotic. And then suddenly they were all sitting down prim and proper. And we're just like, you guys, you're so dumb.
that's us before Dahlia comes over.
You're like, oh, hey. I didn't know you were coming.
When Katsu's over here, we just like upend the trash can and just toss it on the ground.
So I feel at home.
Oh my god. But it was wild. Yeah, what does he do after he leaves the Bennett's house with Darcy?
Him and Darcy go by the lake, and he's practicing.
Oh my god, what is he practicing for?
I don't know. What is he practicing for, Antonio?
Lo and behold, a Mr. Bingley for a Miss Bennet. So instead of pandering and doing another
Ahoy.
foot and mouth situation, he gets on one knee and just immediately proposes to her. He just asks for her hand in marriage and says that he's been an unmitigated ass and that he was sorry. And Jane, tearfully, just crying, says yes 1,000 times yes.
Did you guys hate that you didn't see the actual proposal happen? The will you marry me? Or was it just so secondary you didn't care?
Oh, it was so secondary. I mean, honestly, when you start a proposal with, let me apologize on one knee for being an unmitigated ass, then, like, it's good.
You're like,
It's
that was
kinda
it.
I don't know. I like her reaction. Like
Oh,
when I think of this movie, that's like one of the things I think of is that part specifically because it's just so like she's so happy and like joyful, and it's just I don't know. I really do enjoy that, so I don't care about the proposal.
Oh.
Her
It's
reaction
just
is
like- it's
everything.
just
I think it's
generally,
so
yeah.
wholesome
It is a very, like,
She's
pure
such a
moment.
great
and
actress.
well deserved.
Right? She's such a nice person, comparatively. She's just so shy and modest, and she's just, like, going through life, and, like, she lost him, and she's like, okay, I'll be fine. And then he's like, I'm sorry, I made a mistake.
She's like, thank God.
So cute.
Mm-hmm.
This is stupid. My mom always could never say Bingley for some reason. She would call him Mr. Tingley every single time.
That's not stupid,
She
dude. That's amazing.
She always refers to him as Mr. Tingley. So every single time I go to say Bingley, I want to say Tingley.
That's cute.
That's not
Mr.
stupid,
Tingley.
dude. That's amazing.
I just wanted to share.
No, it's so
I love my
cute.
mommy.
Mommy.
I'm sorry I made you watch softcore porn. I'm still sorry about that, Mom.
Oh gosh. And then what else happens? We're like totally near the end.
Yeah.
No, but honey, is there a storm coming?
So what happened was
During
The Lady
that
Catherine.
night, during that night, everyone's all happy, giddy. Jane's marriage is on the horizon. You know, the oldest is about to get married. She's gonna not just get married, but she's gonna get married to a very rich man who she loves, a very rich man who she loves and who loves her. You know, it's a good thing.
who could ask for more at the time?
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada Bingley.
Enter Lady Catherine de Bourgh.
We're all awakened in the middle of the night. We're like, what the fuck? Everybody's at the door with a fucking candle, and here she comes. She was just here to like tear her to shreds. She's just like, I heard something, and I'm here to verify that it's totally untrue. And she's like, well, I'm not saying it's not untrue. Like, and then she's like, you have to tell me, because like she's like, Darcy's supposed to marry my daughter. Like, he can't be engaged to you. Basically, that's why she's there. She's like, I need to make sure that this stupid rumor is like just a rumor. And then so amazingly, like, ugh. And I hated that she said this. I hated that Elizabeth did say this. She's like, I will never marry him. I'll never be engaged to him, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, you dumb bitch. You can't say those words out loud because then you're going to speak them into existence.
I thought she was saying that she would not promise. She would not say and not promise.
I feel like I heard her say, like, I will never marry him. I will never get engaged to him, blah, blah, blah. Unless I'm wrong.
Her
I kinda
fingies
think-
was crossed. No.
Ketzel,
It's kind
you're
of like
terrible.
who shot first. I honestly, so I thought the question asked was, do you swear you're not an engagement, and do you swear you shall never be an engagement?
Yeah. The first one was like, you're not engaged. She said no. And she said, you have to promise me that you're never going to get engaged with him. And she's like, I will never get engaged to him.
I thought she was like, I shall not promise.
We
Man,
gotta watch this shit again. We gotta go through 2
you gotta
hours.
go through the linguistics of this nonsense.
Her fingies were crossed.
Anyway, her fingies were crossed because she's
Were
like,
Her fingies
Her
and
fingers were
toesies.
like,
her
Lady
fingers were
Catherine,
crossed.
get the fuck out of my house. And she's just like, everybody leave me for once in your fucking life, leave me fucking alone. And she goes upstairs to be sad. And then, you know, Lady Catherine leaves and she's like, I've never been treated this way. And I'm just like, sad for you.
Man,
Sucks
about
to
90
suck.
years in, 9 centuries in, and you finally get someone to talk back at you.
Wow. Crazy, right? What a concept. But yeah, she's upset. Elizabeth is upset. She's like walking in the moors, like really early in the morning, sunrise. And then out of nowhere, and this is where Ketzel started crying almost, I think. I didn't see actual tears, but you were like, she's like, he's here. Because Darcy's coming from the distance. He's like making his way to her. He's like, rah, rah.
Okay.
Which you
let
thought
me-
was a dream from what I
I
understood.
thought it was a dream. I was like, this ain't fucking real.
Let me tell you something about this scene. First
Let me
of all,
tell you something.
let me fucking tell you something. I've seen this movie like 83 times, and it always makes me cry.
It doesn't
Secondly-
make me
Oh, go ahead.
cry, but it's very like, I don't know. Just imagine the love of your life coming at you in the moors with like that fucking flowy ass jacket.
I wish he
Shirt
would.
kinda
shirt
open.
kind of unbuttoned. Like,
Mm.
oh,
I wish
my
he
heart goes
would.
pitter
Like he
patter,
walked
pitter
here from
patter.
Pemberley.
Pitter patter.
But
And like go ahead. And the fact that like Elizabeth gets made fun of for walking everywhere because she's not as rich as the rest of them, and like when she comes to Shriveled in the beginning of the movie, he like falls in love with her in that moment, right? So like it's just the fucking poetic cinema of like him walking for her even though he's rich, like him walking all the way to her to be like, I come to you humbly, asking you to marry me for realsies this time. And I just can't.
yeah,
I never put that together, but that's amazing the way you just described it.
so that's
love
why
love.
we were both like, because it's so like it's just so romantic.
And I still was not crying at this point.
You weren't?
That's okay.
Not during the
Oh
walk.
no, you're
Not
right.
during
you're
the
right.
walk.
I
Not during the
still
walk.
wasn't convinced. I'm like,
It's not until he opens
not
his
until
mouth.
I fucking cry, man. I can't. We go back to the house because, of course, you can't just ask her to marry you. You have to ask for her
Daddy.
hand in marriage
Daddy.
from daddy.
Daddy.
And so Elizabeth spills the fucking beans. She's just like, oh my God, he's the one who kind of saved our lives. And it's kind of crazy. And she's like, oh my God, isn't it just so crazy? Like, it's so crazy. I can't believe it, Dad. And then he's like, oh my God, you really love him, don't you? That's crazy. And she's like, oh my God, yeah, I do. I'm like a fucking idiot this whole time. I never realized how blind I'd been. And I was like, oh. And then he starts like laughing. Like, I don't know what it was, but like the dad laughing. And he's like, you really love him, don't you? And she's like, I do. I love him. And I was like, ah. And I started crying. That was when I started crying. Oh, it's so great.
Yeah, that
Mr.
part
Bennett
always
is just
makes
such
me
a good
cry.
dad.
He is.
Yeah.
I forget what
He's
happens
just
after
so
that.
happy.
Mm-hmm. It was so great.
After
Well, can I now jump in and talk about the difference in endings?
Oh, is there? Oh, yeah. That's
that, that
right.
would actually be where the UK version ends.
So the original version of this movie ends with Mr. Bennett saying, "If there's any other suitors for Kitty or Mary, bring him in," because basically, like, I'm open, right? And it cuts right there. Yeah, but like it ends with Mr. Bennett like just kind of laughing and crying and just staring off into the distance, and it cuts. And so American audiences were like, "Wait, we didn't even get to see them kiss. We want to actually see that." So they added that ending of Mr. Darcy and Lizzie like kissing outside. Like that was for American audiences because the original ending was just Mr. Bennett cry, like smiling. And that was the ending I saw for most of the time. I never saw that like extended ending till like maybe 5 years in.
Really?
Yeah, I
It's
never
the only
seen
version. I've only ever seen the US ending.
I've only seen the US ending. I've never seen the UK.
I had never seen the US ending until like way later, and I was like,
Interesting.
when they first played it, I was like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Because I had never seen them kiss.
Wow, I didn't know that. I've always only seen the ending we saw.
So that was like fan service, basically.
It was fan
American
service.
audiences. Okay, interesting.
And I don't know what you think. Where would you have preferred it to end, Dahlia,
Yeah.
as someone who is,
Oh, I was good with the UK version because I as much as I really enjoyed the, you have to tell me, like, you can call me this and you can call me that, but only when you're super duper amazingly in love, head over heels happy, you call me Mrs. Darcy. And so he keeps saying it, and I think that's so lovely. But also, I was like, I'm fine. But the whole like romance of it, I was totally enamored with it. I love that, and how he kept like kissing her everywhere else but her mouth, and I was just like, oh. But I think I could have been fine leaving off where the dad was like crying, because that was what got me. And if I ended on that crying mode, I think it would have been fine, because like I wasn't crying when they were like, Mrs. Darcy.
yeah.
And that's the part that I'm just like, this is excessive.
It is, and I completely agree. I always thought, Antonio, that you thought that the ending was bad because you were seeing the UK ending.
No,
But it turns out you hate the ending I hate too.
Wait, you hate the ending too?
Oh, I can't believe I've been in agreement with Antonio this whole time.
Wow.
I just think it's excessive. I do enjoy it.
I like it.
I do enjoy it, and I think it's super smushy, douchey, but like, if after going through that entire movie and for it to just be so over the top sappy, it's a bit much. Just a bit much. It's like an artificial cherry on top of a sundae. It's just a bit much for me. And oddly enough, it's I didn't know that there were two endings until I was looking up trivia. And I was like, oh crap, I didn't know that I was getting the US ending the entire time. And the fact that it's like considered one of the greatest movie endings of all time, specifically the US version for I think it's like Entertainment Weekly. It was definitely on some list or another. But
really?
It was one of the greatest of all time. And I was like, that's a bit much. Honestly, I sit here and I'm like, it's a little sappy. Just a tiny bit. I don't think it's terrible, but it's just not how I think too many Mrs. Darcy's. Just one or two too many.
Fan
I
service.
get that.
Go
but
ahead, Sky. Sky, give your...
No,
Give it to me.
I liked it, and that's all I'm gonna say. I liked it. I liked the romance of it.
I will say that's like where I like find a flaw. And it's just like that little artificial super sappy cherry at the very end.
I agree with you, Antonio. Was my dick hard during that whole end sequence? Yes, I fucking love it when they're kissing.
Do I
and
enjoy
they're
it?
doing
100%. I'll sit through
100%.
it, but man, does it like just
I'll
like
eat it up.
Meh.
I'll eat it up. But to me, the fact that throughout this whole movie we're all reliant on the intimacy of just like the hands and like the stares, and then like even when they're finally foreheads touch at the end, that's it. Like I'm like, that's enough, you know, because like at the time you're not supposed to do that kind of. I don't know, like it was already intimate enough that we didn't need the kiss. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
that's why I was like fan service at the end. I actually thought that they were gonna cut to black before they even got to kiss on the mouth, and I was like, I'm just waiting for it. I'm like, are they gonna do it? Are they gonna cut it so that we don't see the kiss, so that we can hate them more? But nope, they did.
Yeah.
It was
my
satisfying.
heart loves the kiss. Yeah,
was
my heart
satisfying.
loves
Oh
the
yeah,
kiss.
100%. And honestly, if I was in
My
that
brain,
sappy
though.
scene
And
in,
also-
in reality, I'd be 100% okay with it. But like,
Also for movie kiss though, wasn't it good? It was a really good movie kiss. I was very like, I was feeling it. I was like, oh my god, they look like they're really into it. Like I
Slip a
feel
little
like,
tongue.
I feel the love, and I was like, that's
I
a
need a
really good
smooch.
movie kiss. Actually, yeah, that's what happened. I was like, I want a smooch. So then I went downstairs, and I was like, Anton's probably not even listening, and he's like, yes, I am. And then I went downstairs to get my smooch, and I did. I got it. I'm satisfied.
Look at us having a smooch.
I just had to.
the rest of us, 27, no prospects, no money.
No love.
Okay, so hot cast. Going bit by bit. Matthew McFadden.
I'm queer. I'm here. And Keira Knightley and Matthew McFadden are everything to me.
I think this is probably like one of the first films maybe I've seen Keira Knightley in, even though I've seen her around. Probably in all the Pirates movies, which I have not seen. But I think it was very amazing. Like her face is just so classically pretty. Like I almost couldn't take it sometimes. And what else? What else is on our list?
Good soundtrack / score.
I obviously wasn't paying attention to that, so I'll probably have to have a listen later. But if I didn't hear it, it's not that it's bad or anything. It's just maybe it was so perfectly fitting into the movie that it just kind of flowed, and I didn't notice it.
I love the soundtrack.
I do too.
I play it.
It's such a
this is
beautiful score.
It's such a beautiful score.
And it's like easy listening too. Like you could
Yeah.
easily be doing something and have it be playing and it just
This
feel
is-
good.
One of those movies
Yes.
where like repeat watchings make you appreciate it even more.
I'm sure I'll watch it again. Maybe by myself I'll cry a little bit more and be like,
Which we can get into momentarily.
Costuming, right, is next.
oh, everything was
I mean-
fantastic.
Beautiful.
The recurrent scarf.
I love that scarf.
Everybody was so horny for the scarf.
It was like a tan with like roses and like thorns, but you could like see the thorns. It's like vines. It was beautiful. I loved it. I want it.
10 out of 10 for the scarf.
Just the scarf.
But all the dresses too, like I said, the casual dresses that they would wear look so comfortable and so flowy, you know. And like I said, that end where he's in that jacket with the shirt like unbuttoned and the high-waisted pants
you just love a disheveled man.
I do. I really do.
A sad
you-
eyes, disheveled man.
Would you say it was a very Kylo Ren look?
Stop.
Anyway, I'll just leave that
Say
there.
less.
Say less.
Do you want to go through memorable quotes?
Just super duper love the one from the dad where he's like, you're never going to talk to one of your parents ever again. If you don't marry him, your mom will never talk to you again. If you do marry him, I'll never talk to you again. And I was just like, oh, it was so like fantastic. I feel like that was probably one of the best lines.
Yeah, that was that was one of my favorite ones too because I was like, oh, I'm tearing up. I love
It is
that
a really
part.
good line.
Daddy.
Honestly, it's probably one of the more memorable ones.
My favorite is, what excellent boiled potatoes.
Oh my gosh. Tell me why that pops in my head at no particular reason. Just at the drop of a hat, I will like look at potatoes and I'll be like,
We're gonna have a
What
Pride and
excellent boiled
Prejudice.
potatoes.
We're gonna have a Pride and Prejudice party,
so mad.
and it's gonna be boiled potatoes.
Like, there was a
Spoiled
perfectly
potatoes.
good, like, chicken pie sort of situation. I was like, is that the only thing on this goddamn table? And I was like, every time I see potatoes, I'm like, what excellent boiled potatoes. Like, I hate myself because that sticks with me to this day.
What an exemplar vegetable.
I don't get that far. I just get the excellent boiled potatoes.
No, Antonio, I didn't realize how, like, in tune we were about this movie.
Yeah,
Who knew?
The other one
Oh
I
my
found,
God.
the quote I found, I had to look for it because I didn't write it down and it went by too fast. But it's after he asks Elizabeth to dance with him, and she's with her friend, and she's like, "Did I just agree to dance with Mr. Darcy?" And Charlotte's like, "I dare say you find him amiable." Can't talk. Elizabeth's like, "It would be most inconvenient since I've sworn to loathe him for all eternity."
Enemies to lovers. There she is.
Fucking love that shit.
Secret
I eat that shit up.
lovers.
Secret tunnel.
Oh my god.
Sorry, you said secret
You're the
lovers.
only one who knows. Right?
Gay.
I don't know about gay so much as weeb.
Weeb.
No,
I
y'all
was
not
gonna
gonna be
say
gay somewhere else.
Weeb.
I'll take
Antonio?
it. I'll
I-
take it.
Cannot
Is
tell
it
you
the
what-
potatoes?
I'm
'Cause
so...
I'll give another one, and the potatoes can be your quote.
No, I don't know. It's, I don't know. You've bewitched me body and soul. I always, like, think about that every
Oof.
once in a while. And I'm just like, I don't even have that whole quote in my thing, in, like, my head. In the thing I call my head.
My what?
In
My
my
teen-
head.
My thing.
I don't even have, like, the whole quote, but, like, when he's talking to her about that. But it's just crazy that it's, like, virtually the exact same speech as what he says inside of The Rain when she hates him. And
It's something
he's just like, it's his second shot and he gets it. And
Yeah.
it's just like, oh,
It's just
the
something about the
context.
way he says it too.
Man.
Like, because I think
That's
about that
romantic.
too. I don't know the whole quote, but that specific part of it, I'm like, man. I would have been like not
Also-
listening, but tuned into that, and then would have tuned out and been like, yes, let's just do it. Let's do it right here, right now.
Yes. And I don't cry at this movie. Hands in front of my face, just sobbing or anything like that. But
Like me.
man, yeah. But
Aw,
when I do watch this
Antonio.
movie, I do get a little bit sappy too.
It's like,
But I will tell you what's not my favorite fucking quote.
oh my fucking god, we
Any
fucking
guesses?
know. We fucking
Mrs.
know.
Darcy. Mrs.
Oh,
Darcy.
Mrs. Darcy.
Man.
Yeah, I'm with you there, buddy. Still ate it up though.
Yeah.
I 100%.
I'm like,
if I was
I'ma
at the
eat
other,
it. I'ma eat
if I
though.
was at the
I'ma
other
eat.
end of that being called Mrs. Darcy, yeah, sure, whatever. But at watching it, no.
Antonio's like, call me Mrs. Darcy, please.
Oh, good lord. Will the real Mrs. Darcy please stand up?
We all stand up.
Okay.
So, Dahlia,
Mm-hmm.
was this movie worth it for someone who has not seen it? Was it worth the hype? We hyped it up a lot, though.
You did. I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was amazing. Love a good period piece. Coming off of Bridgerton and having heard that this was like, you know, the mix of like Pride and Prejudice and Gossip Girls was what makes Bridgerton. I'm just like, I gotta know what it's like. I'm like, I really want to see like the style. I want to see what the hype is about. And, you know, I think it really did live up to expectations. And I know I mentioned earlier that like some friends had told me like Titanic is better than Pride and Prejudice, or Pride and Prejudice is better than Titanic. I mean, maybe it's because I grew up with Titanic, but I still feel that way. Sorry.
That Titanic's better than Pride and Prejudice?
Yeah.
That's a choice.
But I thought
That
it,
is a
I think the
choice.
movie
Antonio.
I think the movie is so lovely and amazing, and I think it really like speaks volumes. Like, you know, it makes me want to read, even though it's the zombie version of the book. But like, I really would like to revisit that because I think it would be different. But maybe if I watch it alone, I might have more sappier feelings about it. But I don't think I connected with it as much, just because maybe I'm in my now age. But I think maybe on a very like period week, you know, with a glass of wine and a box of tissues to cry into, and watching this again, I'd be like, because I would love that. Because I think this movie would give me those feels. And I really would like to hear the soundtrack again. It totally lives up to the hype. I love the costuming. I love the actors in it. So I think there was a lot of expectations coming into this, and I think I wasn't let down at all. I would definitely give it its 9.4 out of 10. 10 out of 10? Hot take. No.
I think a lot of it does have to do with, like, this is our Titanic, basically. You know, I feel like it gives us the 10 out of 10 thing. It's like, I don't watch Titanic, like I watch Pride and Prejudice.
Like, heavily cry?
I cried during Titanic too, but I saw this movie before I saw Titanic.
Me too.
I think I have stronger feelings towards this than I do Titanic. Maybe because of the sheer length of Titanic. I get bored till like it like starts to happen, like the actual sinking.
Maybe.
But it's a long movie. It's a 2 VHS movie. For those of you that are very young, they used to put movies that were so long that you had to put them on 2 VHS tapes.
I just think it's so funny that it didn't hit me in the way that I thought it would. But I still had, like, you know, very emotional feelings at the end. And I think that I appreciated that because, I don't know, I was hoping I would cry, and I was getting worried that I wasn't crying. And I'm like, am I just being mean and shitting on this? Like, trying to be that girl? But I just don't think that I was, like, getting into it as much as I thought I would. But the storyline was amazing. I think there was so much of it going on that maybe the romanticism wasn't part of it for me. Or maybe Mr. Darcy just put me off for too long.
I was going to say, I feel like you didn't trust him. And I feel if you were to rewatch it, knowing that he's actually a good person, it will be different.
Yeah. I think it's like one of those, like, oh, with outside knowledge, there's a different appreciation.
I got to do a revisited episode. 6 months later, how do you feel?
Next season, we'll pull a guest host who has never seen this at all and knows nothing about it. And you'll be like, oh, I do kind of remember this. That is a thing.
I think you should give it a rewatch, though. I think you would like it a lot more. Especially, like, watching it by yourself, too. Without, like, any outside sources, just you. Mm-hmm. I think you should give it a rewatch.
I'll put on my headphones, and then I'll just, like, you know, have it blasting in my ears so I can hear the whole soundtrack.
You're like,
be like,
music?
Wow, it's amazing. Yeah, I guess that concludes this episode of Sit Down, Loser. We're watching a movie. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye, loser.